It's nice.
See when I click big screen.
Well, I left my glasses somewhere on my cushion, I think. Thank you, Paul. I can see you just fine, but I can't always see the writing in front of me. So, all right. So, I want to make my picture bigger too. The sounded fine the first time I read it in Ty's book, this book. But as I read it more, it began to sound a little bit more like an affirmation, which I don't have good luck with. So I need to be clear that this is not an affirmation. And I'll tell you why I don't like affirmations, or they don't work for me. A long time ago, I tried affirmations. Louise Hay wrote a really famous book of affirmations that were to fit different kinds of ailments or conditions. And a lot of people really enjoyed it, found a lot of use in it. But the one that she instructed to start with is, she said, you stand in front of the mirror and you look at yourself and you say, I love and approve of you, Bobbie. And then when you're off doing things during the day, you're instructed to say, I love and approve of myself, as often as you can think to do it. So I tried that. I did it for 2 whole days. And then I think it was probably the 3rd day, maybe even the 2nd, but I was saying this in my mind, I love and approve of myself. And there was a response in my head that said, yeah, right. So then I was like, okay, this doesn't work for me. And I haven't tried affirmations very much since then because of that. There's, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I have a tendency to not always conform to whatever somebody tells me to do. I like to think of it myself. Anyway, so that's why affirmations don't work for me. Instead, I use intentions. So my intention today is to be clear, honest, and true to the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh and the Buddha. And my hope is that we'll all leave here feeling uplifted and peaceful, and maybe peace within ourselves. So let's go to the next slide of You Are Enough. Can we get that top thing off?
I can't do that and monitor the chat at the same time.
Okay, sorry. All right, so this is the question that called my attention from this book, Thich Nhat Hanh's book called Answers from the Heart. These are questions that people asked during retreats, and then it's Ty's response to them. So, so this is the question that somebody asked at a retreat. My desire for achievement has led to much suffering. No matter what I do, it never feels like it's enough. How can I make peace with myself? So that really stuck out for me because I've had that thought. I wonder if you've ever had that thought, no matter what I do, it never seems to be enough. Anybody else? Just me? Yeah. So how can you make peace with yourself? The second part of this question is really the thing that we're going to focus on. No matter what I do, it never feels like enough. And this is a key right here, this very sentence. No matter what I do, it never feels like enough. We're going to explore that a little bit. First of all, I want to share some personal experiences to let you know that it's this kind of thing shows up in our lives all the time. And so if we can identify that feeling of not enough, then there is an opportunity to make peace with ourselves. So most of you know that I am taking care of my mother, who's 101 years old. Most of the time, she's doing really well, amazingly well for a person who's 101 years old. But, you know, she has aches and pains, as you might expect for someone of that age. And so sometimes she'll wake up, it's a bad day, and she'll say, my back is killing me, or my legs ache because of sciatic pain or something, you know. So, I mean, these kinds of things, when she says it to me, it's like I have no idea how to relieve her pain in her back. We've tried all kinds of things, doctors and pain relief, etc. But now, you know, it's just she's having to live with it. So not knowing enough knowledge or wisdom or whatever to try to alleviate her pain, it bugged me. It's like I wanted to be able to help. So what I've learned, because I've had some practice at it, is that the best remedy I can offer is to be with her. Get the ice pack for her, get her the heating pad, do Reiki on whatever feels like it's painful, and be with her. Just stay with her and be calm. That doesn't eliminate the aches and pains, but it does help her to suffer less. And so what I've learned is that I can be of no help at all if I feel hopeless and weak, if I don't feel like I'm enough. And so then I suffer too. Nobody wins in that scenario. So let's go on and see what Ty's answer is to the question, how can I make peace with myself? This is part of his answer. The quality of your action depends on the quality of your being. There's a link between doing and being. If you don't succeed in being, you can't succeed in doing. This is really important. This is the way metta works. When we do the metta meditation, we always begin with ourselves. So you fill yourself up with love and compassion or whatever you're doing the metta about, and then you can share it with other people. Then you can pass it out. But if you don't have it, you can't give it away. So I may really sincerely want to make you happy and take away your pain. But if I'm not happy, I can't do anything. There's no way I can make you happy if I'm not happy. So we have to take care of ourselves, and then we can share with other people. And we do that by meditating, by taking care of ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually, and by adding loving kindness to our meditation practice. Let's look at the quote again. The quality of your action depends on the quality of your being. There's a link between doing and being. If you don't succeed in being, you can't succeed in doing. Now, let's just look a little more closely at the link he talks about, the link between doing and being. So here are the words doing and being. Notice that the word doing is horizontal and the word being is vertical. So look at the picture. The trees are doing both. They're spreading out, and underneath the trees, you can see people doing things, sitting, talking, chatting, resting. The doing is happening on the horizontal level, and the being is happening on the vertical level. The trees are being trees. They're not trying to be anything else. And it's a good thing. If a tree was, if a tree wasn't a tree, we would miss a lot. Our earth would not be well. We would not be well. So in the same way, we are not well when we don't have the connection, the link between what we do and how we be. So that's what we're going to concentrate on today, is what can we do to make sure that our being is in alignment with our values, our beliefs, our practice, so that from that way of being, the doing will flow. It will also align. Everything lines up when the being is in alignment with you, with your values. Let me just explain a little bit more, because you probably, well, I don't know, maybe I just want to talk about it a little more. So the doing part in Buddhist terms is what we call the relative dimension. And I've talked about that before. The being part is what we refer to as the ultimate dimension. So we need both of them. How we be influences what we do. And you can see how this plays out in your own life. Just watch what happens when you're feeling upset or disappointed or angry. Then life seems to be showing you more of the things to be upset and discouraged and angry about. You just get more of that. But if you can find something to sincerely be grateful for and feel gratitude in your heart, circumstances begin to shift and the suffering begins to ameliorate. And that's, I think, the reason from the very beginning. I remember that we always began our sanghas with something we're grateful for, so that we shift our perspective from doing to being, because being is in that line of gratitude. Gratitude is in the line of being. That's what I really want to say. So it's very important that we know how we are being. And it's also important that we can change the way we're being. And it's really pretty simple, just by paying attention to something that we're grateful for. I'm going to be sure I didn't miss anything that I wanted to tell you about this slide. Well, I did want to share with you a secret. It's not really a secret, but sometimes we don't remember. The secret is you have to choose to find something to be grateful for. You have to be intentional about it. It doesn't work otherwise. If you're not choosing it, if you just tell yourself, kind of like that affirmation, I love and approve of myself. If you just say that, it doesn't mean anything. And in fact, it produces the opposite feeling you want. So we have to really mean it. We have to choose it. Be intentional about it. Well, sometimes you just want to feel grumpy, you just do. So try this. Make an intention to be grumpy. I intend to be grumpy today. Try that. You know, what happens to me is that I say that, I really feel it. I feel I mean it, but something in me just wants to giggle. I'm like, it doesn't, and then the mood shifts entirely. It's like, you know, and then I realize, what do I have to be grumpy about? I have so many things to be grateful for. So, you know, I don't know, try that. If you feel grumpy someday, try it and see what happens with you. And then let me know. So you might actually learn that it doesn't shift your mood and you're not really ready to give up being grumpy. You're not really ready to enjoy your day. So, okay. It's, you know, it's going to happen probably at some point. So what do you do then? Well, just sit with that feeling. Just sit with it until you feel like you're ready to climb out of that doldrum and begin to enjoy life again. I think what you'll discover is that you don't have to sit with it very long. At least I hope that is. But I encourage you to set an intention every day if you can. It's really as simple as saying, I intend to be peaceful today. I intend to be calm today. I intend to have fun today. It's just very, very simple. Be flexible, be creative with this practice and see what happens. Can I share what we are doing together? Alex and I have been doing this, sharing this practice for probably a couple of months now.
Yeah.
Isn't that true? So every day, and sometimes it's not early in the morning, sometimes it's early afternoon, but sometime during the day, we text one another and say, today I intend to be whatever. Or if it's in the afternoon, it might be, today I am intending, I have been intending, you know, but it's really easy and it's nice from my point of view to kind of have a partner that helps you practice with that. So you might, you know, see if somebody would partner with you to just do this very simple thing. And I think you will notice that it makes a big difference in the day and ultimately in your life. So that's the connection between being and doing, the importance of being, and a way for you to create a practice that helps to intentionally choose your way of being. Let's go to the next slide. This is what happens when you stick to a path of doing. It leads to nowhere. Good times are just around the corner. You know, we'll just do this until things are better. Do this until things are better. Do this, do that, you know, it's all about doing. So I don't recommend this. When I first saw this cartoon, I really think it was in the 90s. That probably tells you how old I am. But it was so fun to me. I clipped it and I've used it several times as a reminder of myself and also now with you to don't look for good things. Don't look for your way of doing to actually manifest good things in your life. It will probably a little bit initially, but you can never do enough to really be satisfied. You can never do enough to feel like it's enough. Okay. Another thing that Ty talks about in his response to this participant who asked the question was the idea of aimlessness. Apranahita, it's called in Buddhism. Aimlessness. let me read what he says, and then I'll explain my understanding of aimlessness. So Tai says, in Buddhism, we have a practice of apranahita, aimlessness. If you put an aim in front of you, you'll be running all your life, and happiness will never be possible. Happiness is possible only when you stop running and cherish the present moment and who you are. You don't need to be someone else. You're already a wonder of life. So let me talk about aimlessness a little bit. It's kind of an odd and confusing idea for most of us because of the culture that we've grown up in. Our culture encourages us to make goals, to have aims, to strive for something. It's even in the, I guess it's in the Declaration of Independence, the pursuit of happiness. So it's built into our nation's culture. The Buddha taught that if we are clinging to something, it's going to always lead to suffering. Clinging leads to suffering. So if you've got a goal and you're clinging to that goal and the outcomes that you expect to receive from that goal, it's like a recipe for disaster. It's not going to be a happy ending. So the clinging is the part that's the problem. And so the teaching that Thich Nhat Hanh offers and the Buddha offered is to find a middle path. So clinging to a goal doesn't work, but aversion to that goal, if somebody says, I've set this goal for you, and you say, oh, no, I'm not doing that. Well, that's the same. You're going to suffer either way. So we can't cling and we can't avoid something. We can't be averse to it. So what do? We choose a middle path, which means, in my understanding, that the goals, the aims, the pursuit, the striving, they're all in that realm of doing, the relative dimension. So remember that thing of this quote about the quality of your action depends on the quality of your being. So yeah, make a goal, set an aim, pursue something, try, but allow for things to change, to morph, to align with your intention and your values. And then just watch how things unfold. So that way you're not clinging to that goal. You know what you want, but you're choosing to let it unfold as it will. And most of the time it unfolds in a way that's so much more beautiful than what you could have imagined. So it's okay to have goals and aims. It's just not okay to be controlled by them. So just to reiterate this one thing, just don't attach or cling to a specific outcome. That's the key. Just stay present, watch everything unfold. And that's my understanding of the teaching of aimlessness. Any questions about that? Do I need to explain more? Just give me a yes or a no. No? Okay, we'll go on. So beautiful picture, mountains, trees, river, beach, grass. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Lao Tzu. Many years ago. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Tai says in his response to the questioner, look at the tree in the front yard. The tree doesn't seem to be doing anything, but it's vigorous, fresh, and beautiful, and everyone profits from it. That's the miracle of being. If a tree were less than a tree, all of us would be in trouble. But if a tree is just a tree, a real tree, then there's hope and joy. That's why if you can be yourself, that is already action. Action is based, sorry, I lost my place. Action is based on non-action. Action is being. Let that sink in. And remember, we talked about to shift your mood, to shift your way of feeling, that you could look for something to appreciate. Well, nature always has something to appreciate. All you have to do is go out, just look out the window, find something that you appreciate. And it can be in your house, it can be in your room, but if you can't find anything there, look outside, go outside. Nature will give you something to be grateful for. So let's finish up. Wrapping up. The first 4 things actually are the 4 noble truths. There's first the aware of suffering. In this case, it was, I'm not enough. The cause of the suffering. In this case, the cause of the suffering is that the doing and being are out of balance. And the remedy in this case is to rebalance doing and being. Go back to having doing here and being your connection to your higher self, to your Buddha nature. The path out of suffering is the Noble Eightfold Path. And, sometimes every one of those points in the Eightfold Path will not necessarily be specific to your problem, to what you're suffering about. So in this case, I looked at it and I thought that these are the things that were applicable to that situation of feeling not enough. So the first is right view. And that simply means acknowledge the problem. Recognize what's going on. Recognize that you're suffering. Right thinking is when you recognize that you're suffering, then you recognize what's causing that. Well, I'm noticing that I'm just doing all the time. I'm just doing. So that's what's creating the imbalance. So that's part of your thinking process. Then right action. Well, stop doing and sit. Sit with it, meditate, be grateful. These are very short bullet points, and I could probably spend the rest of our time together talking about it, but I'm going to trust that you are going to do some thinking about it too. So right diligence also, I think, applies here, and that simply means practice. Practice intention. Practice meditating, practice metta, practice being grateful, just practice. And right mindfulness, Thai reminds us to water the wholesome seeds that are already in us. So notice the value that's in you and water that. That's a part of that being process that we're wanting to cultivate. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening. And I would love to hear your comments, your questions, whatever you want to share, whatever you want to ask about. This is the time to do that.